fuck it, fuck the dude, the firefighter guy, fuck Trump, fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay, just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am 100%.
Shut up! Listen to the ridiculous statement said by Destiny on the Piers Morgan show.
On Saturday evening, hours after the shooting, you said, let me clarify, when I say conflicted, what I mean is I lean towards seeing it as a natural extension of the thing Trump and the MAGA kids support. So I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt enough to chastise people celebrating it. You couldn't find it in your heart to chastise people for celebrating the near assassination of a man who was president of the United States and maybe again?
Absolutely not. Conservatives have completely bled that well dry. And the idea that they, after engaging in the most divisive and most extreme rhetoric that this country has seen in recent history, that they would come on and beg for sympathy, that it's escalated into some kind of violent confrontation is absolutely insane. Even the idea right now of saying, well, if you call somebody a Nazi for so long, it's, what do you expect people to do? I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh call Obama a communist every single day he was on the radio. You've got conservatives that talk about how the mRNA vaccines were ways to sneak microchips into us. You've got COVID lockdowns that were done because the government was trying to take all your freedom away. They won't acknowledge anything that happened on January 6th. They say that the election was stolen and that your country is being taken from you. Like, I don't think anybody should be killed. I don't think anybody should go out and kill anybody. But when you engage in this type of rhetoric and when you turn the temperature up over and over and over and over again, there is absolutely no room for you to be shocked or surprised. And there certainly isn't room for you to ask for sympathy.
But Destiny, you say you don't want anybody killed. And yet you say, I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt to chastise people celebrating it. People celebrating the near assassination of Donald Trump. If you can't find it in you to chastise people who do that, aren't you just as despicable as the people that you've just spent the last 2 minutes haranguing?
No, because they've led the way. This is the environment that they've created.
So, Destiny likes to bounce around from top to top while during the conversation. Especially this one. Piers Morgan asked some very divisive, pointed questions, and this makes him look even worse.
You think behaving like the people you think are despicable is the correct course of action?
Not about behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal? How many times as a liberal have you been on a show? Not you in general, but like a liberal been on a show and you've been forced to disavow all of the BLM riots, disavow all of the violence, and blah blah blah. And then you talk to conservatives about it. January 6th. That was that's good. Flag. Yeah. January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
All right, let me jump in.
On Saturday,
don't talk over each other. Let me just ask you this, Destiny. You were asked on that clip we played earlier if you'd have the same attitude if it was your parents who'd been killed at a Trump rally. And you replied, it's less end-of-life costs for me. Would I lose sleep over it? No. Do you understand how grotesque that sounds?
It sounds grotesque, but the environment that we're in right now is grotesque.
But why do you want to sound grotesque? I don't understand.
You cannot engage in behavior that leads us to this point, that brings us to the precipice, and then say, wait a second, wait, are you taking this a little bit too far?
So just to be clear, hang on, Dave.
We are exactly here
just to be
because
clear,
of what conservatives have said.
Just to be clear, Destiny, if it was
Mm-hmm.
close members of your family or close friends who had gone to that Donald Trump rally and who'd lost their lives, one did and two are critically wounded, if they had died there, you would lose no sleep over that. Is that your position?
No, of course I would be sad. It would be tragic, of course. And the closer they are to you, the more sad it would be. The same way that if you had a child that, tried to rob a store and the child got killed by the police, that would also be tragic and sad.
So you wouldn't think fuck
them
because they're your family then? You'd have a different rule for your own loved ones.
Would I feel more upset if a person very close to me died rather than a person farther away died? Yeah, I think the answer there is yes.
Yeah, but you weren't just just to be clear, you weren't just not upset by the death of that firefighter who'd given great service as a firefighter to his country. You were gleeful and you said, fuck him. Fuck him.
I'm not. It's
Would
not
you
about
say
being gleeful.
fuck
It's
them
about
if it was your family and friends?
Because it was a Trump supporter.
I would say that if they go to a rally like this and they support an insurrectionist president and something happens to them, I would feel sad on a personal level because they're my parents. But again, I learned from them more than anyone else. I grew up in Nebraska. You learn that if you mess around and if you do dumb stuff, that there are going to be consequences.
And would you think? All right. And would you be happy to say, you know what? Fuck them. About your own parents.
His rhetoric is far more dangerous than I've ever heard anything that Donald Trump said. What he's saying right there. Yeah. He is saying you should have no empathy or sympathy for your fellow human. You know, we can all disagree. We can disagree about politics, of course. We can even disagree about how the media frames things and everything else. But he's basically saying show up to a rally and get killed. And that is absolutely psychotic. I'm sorry. And you know, the other part of this that's
now, you think that Destiny will make himself look better, but he just keeps on getting worse, guys. Check out this next clip.
Nothing has changed.
Let me ask you this.
I'm curious. Wait, can you ask
one last question,
do they agree
Destiny?
With any part, do they
one
agree
last
with
question
any part
for
of
you.
your characterization of J6?
Destiny, one last question for you. Are you pleased that Donald Trump got shot?
Am I pleased? No, absolutely not.
What is your emotion to the shooting?
My emotion is emotionally what? In terms of his personal health, is absolute indifference.
No. Do you condemn the shooter shooting Donald Trump?
No. Not here, not on this program, not in front of these people. Absolutely
You do not condemn a deranged shooter shooting Donald Trump.
You are truly just a child. This is not
actually,
this is not a competition.
You know what,
We're
Charlie?
just trying to be decent human
beings. You know what,
beings.
Charlie? It's not actually the behavior of a child. It's the behavior of somebody who's completely lost his moral compass and any sense of decency.
You're right. A child wouldn't.
And I'm going to go to Dave Rubin. Let me let Dave Rubin respond to what you've just heard from Destiny.
I mean, it's actually one of the most disgusting things that I've ever heard in my life. My entire staff in my studio right now all gasped at that. When I happened to be at Target, the store Target we were checking out when I saw it on Twitter, and my heart actually sank. And I know that is the feeling of probably 200 plus, if not 300 plus million Americans, even many of whom would vote against Trump and do not like Trump and all of those other things. The idea that you can't show sympathy or empathy for that is so profoundly sad. I would also add one other thing here, which is that the reason you're so emotive and screaming beyond the Red Bull, and dude, just ease up, man, it's not healthy for your heart, is that you really don't have good arguments. So you're petulant and screaming as opposed to just trying to work things out. We're allowed to ask questions about these things, but I would hope that you would try, as Piers is pointing out, instead of always reaching for the lowest common denominator and they're bad, so I'll be worse, I would hope that we could try to be a little bit better than that. And by the way, I think that you're seeing that right now at the Republican National Convention. They're not going crazy over all of this. They're applauding the fact that Trump's there. They're rallying around the new VP choice. And I think you're going to see a wide swath of America that maybe didn't come out for Trump before and they're not traditional conservatives.
I totally agree.
I think you're going to see them support Trump.
I totally agree. And I would say to you, Destiny.
Nothing is more emblematic of the situation than the fact that the VP choice is a guy who's also said that Donald Trump is like Hitler.
Yeah, I would say
perfect cherry on top to everything.
For it and said he got it wrong.
Yeah, I would say this to you, Destiny. Lester Holt asked Joe Biden last night, has he had any soul searching? Right. I think after this debate, you may want to just go away quietly and think about some of the answers you've given. And think about the double standard of demanding a certain pattern of behavior from others that you do not sign up to. And you may or may not take my advice. You may or may not take my advice. I'm just saying, on reflection, you might conclude that the best way to persuade other people to behave in a better way is not to behave in an utterly degrading way yourself.
There's a lot said in that interview that you guys got to check out. It's in the description box below. But this does not make Destiny look good at all and what he stands for. So if you follow him, drop a comment below. Tell me what your guys' thoughts are. But it doesn't make him look good. So this channel, guys, we expose money, business, politics, and this is right on the money for the show, for the channel. So please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the Discord or the Telegram. Peace.